Hey guys, it's been an eventful morning so far. It's a Sunday morning. Tally put her whole front half of her body into the cat litter box, even though the cat litter box is positioned right against the wall. So there's only there's like 4 inches where the cat can put her body and crawl into the litter box to try to prevent Tally from eating almond rogas. And this morning, Tally got in there into that 4 inches and twisted her body in order to get her whole front portion of her body into the cat litter box and have breakfast. So Tally took a shower this morning. I cleaned the litter boxes. We have 2 of them, one upstairs and one downstairs. And I wrote the first chapter of my book. And it sounds weird to say it that way, but that's because I have to see how many pages, but it's many hundreds of pages of stuff written already, but deciding what that first chapter or the first paragraph is going to be is not necessarily common sense, because you don't always write things chronologically from first this happened, second this happened, third this happened, because some things you want to keep a secret. So I jumped way far down the storyline that I've been working on. Tally, why don't you go lay down, honey? Good girl. So I jumped way down the storyline to a certain event that happened, and that's where we're going to start off. So then after that point, the readers have to wait until things are revealed in their due course by different characters, etc., to figure out what exactly was going on there and what happened afterwards. So it's kind of a cliffhanger, but that's what you do at the beginning of a lot of books. So that's what I am doing. So recently I went to a very nice hotel. I went to a couple of different cities over the last couple of weeks for my job, for my travel nursing essentially. And I was really impressed by this hotel room that I'm showing you right now, because it had a full kitchen. Like, you could cook anything you wanted to in that kitchen, which I did not. And it was also affordable. Arriving home after a 3.5 or 4 hour drive. I'm recording because this is always the funnest part. My little girl sees that I'm home. Here she comes. Come on down, daddy, daddy, daddy. You're not going anywhere. You're not going nowhere. Get in here. Get out of there. You're the mommy baby.
You a girl, you fat mama. You fat mama.
Yes.
You fat mama. Hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
Want to pop the trunk? I'll get you.
Yeah. I got a lot of inspiration for my books this week. I was scrolling on Reels and I saw some ideas for future books having to do with this garden. There's a gardener in my books, and so whenever I see things that could pertain to gardening that might have some kind of relationship with God in heaven, I like to take note of that. We did some more work on my greenhouse. 2 of the panels had flown off in this huge windstorm, so we got those 2 panels back on. It's super rainy over here, so hubby and I put up one more little covered area that he could park his Jeep underneath to keep it from rust and mold and whatever else. So just a temporary spot. The ultimate dream is for him to have one of those really big garages, like super big garages where you can drive multiple quads and whatever underneath. But that's a huge project, very expensive, etc., etc. And so if we ever do that, it's not going to be this year, probably.
So on this interface here, there's 2 knobs. This one controls the one that's coming out of this monitor.
Okay.
You want to be careful to not kick this right here because that's an open speaker. And so the sound that comes out of here is what they call it's a flat. And so there's nothing added into it. It's basically a raw signal that you can also record in a multi-track recorder. This here is a program that's just for playing different patches. So these are like the pre-recorded patches ready to go. So there's a lot of layers of controls happening here.
Listening to the song called Greater by Mercy Me. It's this one. And there's a part in that where there's a sound like clinking coins. And it made me think that that's the soundtrack. Clinking coins is the soundtrack of Jesus's betrayal. So, for a cheating spouse, maybe the soundtrack of betrayal is a song that was being played when someone cheated on someone else. That's the soundtrack of that sin. And so the soundtrack of Jesus's betrayal by Judas was the sound of clinking coins. All right. On the road again. Whenever I'm driving to places, to buildings, to work, it's at a minimum a 3-hour drive. And it can be up to 6 to 10 hours drive depending on wherever the building is. And I have fun during those drives. I listen to YouTubes, I listen to music, but inevitably some ideas pop up about my books. And so the easiest and safest way for me to record those thoughts is by making videos while I'm driving. So her mom was a victim, so she would be, and whether she stayed on Earth or not wouldn't be separated from her daughter if she doesn't know. But then as she starts to discover things about herself and the audience starts to see these things happen as well, she I feel like I'm salivating a lot more now for some reason. Like when I eat food, I feel like I'm salivating more. I don't know if I'm hungry or what. I then have to listen to those videos later when I'm at home and transcribe, type out what I was saying in those videos. Not child's play.
Oh. You could call it Children of the New Book.
I could call it Child's Play, not the Shucky version.
Oh.
And that's very time consuming because sometimes my videos are like 15 plus minutes long each. But it's valuable stuff and it's all filling in the holes of the plots and giving new twists to the plots. And so I'm really enjoying the work that has to be put into it. I'm still enjoying the effort that has to be made to make a good product. Also, a lot of times when I'm either going to sleep or when I'm waking up, I will have ideas and then I will have to roll over and then I will type it into my note app because I'm not going to make a video when I'm laying next to my husband who's sleeping, because if I don't, I will forget it. It's something that I think is so obvious and so elemental to the story that I will remember it, and I don't. So I have to force myself, even if I'm close to sleep, if I don't put it on my note app, I am going to forget it. So I've learned not to make that mistake anymore.
Our old crooked estate, baby.
That's right, baby.
As in the floors in the living room.
Crooked and creaky.
Right.
So I'm calling it my first chapter, but it's really like my first 5 paragraphs-ish. So it's really short, but it's only as long as it has to be. There's no reason for me to make it bigger than what it is, at least at this moment. I don't think there is. So we're going to go ahead and read the first chapter. And And I'm going to put my little cartoons on the screen so we can see it happening. Chapter 1. He wasn't here to protect her or to bring good tidings. She could quickly see that he wasn't even here to deliver a message from the sender. He was here of his own accord. All of him was blue. Blue wings, blue skin, blue eyes. He truly was beautiful. She had seen angels before, but never with this expression on their face. His face showed that he had human burdens in his soul, things that did not typically afflict angels: fear, anger, desire, craze. And they were all pointed at her or involved her in some way. She backed up slowly until she could feel the couch touch her legs. She listened to his words, and the fear started to leach into her too, like a virus, trailing through his words into her mind, making her feel his madness. She could feel his plans. She was not an angel. Anger was more tolerated in her type, more acceptable. But it was extremely unusual for her. As he began to step forward, a hot lash of anger, one she had never come close to experiencing before, grew in her belly, and a visible light glowed from it, as if a light bulb had turned on inside of her. It lit the room. Erebus stepped back. His reaction infuriated him, but he quickly told himself she would never be able to tell anyone about it anyway. He moved forward. The light inside her burned a hot white fire which shot out like a bomb, burning flesh and feather and incinerating the house around them. All right, that's the first chapter. Now moving on to what we're going to talk about today in our Christian world, which is ego. We talked about it last week. The last video we talked about the Jesus' helper ego, and the link for that is going to be up here. And this week we're talking about the pride ego. Pride is actually, I feel like there should be two different words for pride. I mean, in this context, there should be a division between the pride of doing something good. You're proud of yourself for getting an A. You're proud of yourself for winning the race or for doing something really difficult. That is okay. And that's a kind of a different conversation, maybe for a different week. But then there's the pride of, I have to be right. I have to look good in others' eyes. I can't be put down by others or disrespected by others. That's a different kind of pride. So I feel like they're two very different things with the same name. So the second kind, the pride where someone better not call you any names, or someone better not, it matters what people think of you. That's what I'm talking about right now. And that one I see as fear and insecurity. So I am not an anthropologist, but I take this back to the tribe days where it really did matter what people thought of you, because they could reject you or eject you from the tribe if you were not contributing to the tribe. If you're not strong and you're hunting and bringing in food, if you're not smart and you're not, contributing to what medicines to mix up or how to dry the skin, a hide, or if you're not doing a good job functionally. So if you're a teacher in your tribe and you're not teaching the students well, then you might if you're not meeting expectations of the tribe, then you could be kicked out, and that could mean death. And I think it would be a lot harder to be humble and be okay with people thinking badly about you in that circumstance. Luckily, for most of us, that's not our circumstance anymore. So we have the flexibility, the ability to not really care about what other people think. And we have the flexibility to not worry about people judging us. The only people that it really matters what they think of us is the people that do provide our sustenance, similar to the tribe situation. So that would be things like our bosses and, to an extent, our coworkers. However, here we're going to divide things again. So it matters that we are doing a good job in our job. It matters that we are upholding ourselves and our work ethic and how we present ourselves, just, looking clean and showing up on time and not smelling and that kind of stuff. That we are arriving to the jobs and being our best selves and doing our best job, putting our best work into our work, and that is biblical. The Bible says that Christians are supposed to work hard as if you're working for the Lord. And then we're responsible for treating other people well so that we are actually blameless, is what I'm trying to get to. It matters that we are actually blameless, where no matter what other people say about us, even if it's our bosses, but especially our coworkers, that it's just not true. If they're saying bad things about our work ethic and our work performance, the things that actually really do matter to doing your good job, that those things are not true. And usually if you consistently hold a good work ethic, people are going to know that, and they're not going to believe the liars anyway. And I said that we're dividing a bit here too, and that is because I'm going to go into a different area here where it's, if those same coworkers are saying that you're ugly or you're fat or you have bad handwriting or they're just lying about you, saying that your work ethic is bad, but you know that your work ethic isn't bad, and you don't really care if they think that you're fat and ugly and your handwriting is bad. That's a Christian response, in my opinion. That is humility, and that's not being prideful of what other people think about you. So taking it back to the fear and insecurity thing, that I think that this type of pride, meaning the pride of I care what other people think of me, that is the pride that's based off of fear and insecurity. And we said that the fear and insecurity makes sense when things are going to impact your survival, such as, yes, you should be fearful and insecure if you're doing a bad job at work and you're going to get found out for doing a bad job and then you're going to get fired. That is something that is justified because you weren't doing a good job. That's rational. However, you shouldn't have the fear and insecurity about two things. One is about things that don't impact your survival, and two are things that are only a response to your ego or what people think about you, and they either aren't true or don't really matter. So since that was ad-libbed, I'm not sure if and when I draw this out for you guys, like on a piece of paper, if it's going to make perfect alignment on the decision-making tree or whatever, but hopefully it kind of lines up. So let's ask now why it doesn't matter what people think of you. And this could be many videos, which maybe it will end up being, but I do feel like there is a divider here a little bit in, well, I should say I used to think that there was a difference between caring what your loved ones think of you and caring about what your not loved ones think of you. And I'm not so sure anymore if there's a difference. I'm going to leave that nuance about close relationships, best friends, siblings, family, spouse, children, parents. I'm going to leave that for a different time. So I'm just going to stick to, let's just talk about all the other people in the world. That would include strangers, that includes coworkers, and even bosses, like everybody who's not your close relationship. I think it starts from recognizing that we are not supposed to be perfect, and that is a hard place to start from. And that's, again, it's probably its own series of videos, because I spent a very long time in my life just trying to accept the fact that it's okay not to be perfect. And I knew that it's okay not to be perfect. And I would tell myself that, and I knew that the Bible said that we're not perfect, but if I wasn't perfect, it was really hard for me to get over. So I knew that no one's perfect, but I hated when someone would say, don't worry, nobody's perfect, because that was telling me that I wasn't perfect. And it was meant to be a consolation and telling me, don't worry, it's meant to make someone feel better. But I think that for people who expect that they should be perfect, it's not really comforting, because it tells you that you didn't meet the mark. You did not reach perfection, and you wanted to reach perfection. And so someone coming to you and saying, it's okay, you're not perfect, that's actually not consoling. For me, for most of my life, it would be more consoling for someone to say, I made the same mistake last Tuesday, or I made the same mistake like 20 times. Don't worry about it. Because then I can tell myself they also did it. And so I think it was that they weren't mad at me, and that they didn't think less of me because they accepted that they had done it to themselves. And another way that I would feel forgiven by other people for being imperfect was if they were chummy with me afterwards. So if I felt embarrassed about something, I knew I had done something wrong, but then they're palling around with me, or better yet, they tell someone a compliment about me. Oh, this is Alita, and she's so detailed, and she does everything so great, and we couldn't do anything without her. Then I would feel absolved of the sin of having done that mistake before. But if I didn't get that, it would be sitting on my brain like a brick for a long time. Like, it could be months until I got that compliment from them, and then I would think, okay, I'm out of the woods. They don't think I'm stupid. They think that I'm smart. So it's really a lot easier to tell yourself that it's okay not to be perfect than for you to feel like it's okay not to be perfect. That is something that's really hard to attain. And if you can't grasp that it's okay to look stupid, to look ugly, to have zits, to have bad hair, to be fat, to make spelling errors, to make sometimes big mistakes, to look bad, like to walk into a meeting late, or to get an answer wrong, which is a big one, or for your opinion to turn out wrong. If you can't come to grips with it's okay for all of those things to happen, then it's going to be very hard to not bristle and react when someone calls those things out. So I think that I'm going to stop there today, because otherwise this could be like an hour and a half long. I think I'm just going to leave you with that kind of introduction to this area of pride and pick up from there in the next video. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that you got something out of today's thoughts. I'm going to leave you with a question of what gets the bees in your bonnet? What ruffles your feathers, makes you prickle? What are the things that people say that make you feel defensive? What are the things that offend you? So are they things about your physical appearance, about your belongings, about your power or your status? Are they about your intelligence? Or are they even about your internal character? So please comment below, what are those things? I would love to read those responses. And please subscribe. I'm trying to get some more subscribers on here if you want more content regarding the introspection and extrospection, made up that word, of what it's like to be aware of yourself and your thoughts and your feelings as a Christian, trying to have a Christian character while walking and living in this world. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye. Aeropus stepped back. His reaction infuriated him.